on, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about a question that has come up and asking us about how many times should I be throwing flat grounds, or should I be throwing flat grounds at all? And our answer to that is we do not believe that flat ground should be used as a performance enhancing tool. So there are a couple studies that have been out, and one of them talks about how flat grounds aren't as healthy as they once seemed to be. And then also one talks about the different biomechanical changes in the pitching delivery throwing from flat ground versus throwing off a mound. So the first study talking about the health of throwing off flat ground versus throwing off a mound is that when you're throwing on flat ground, you are still, when you're throwing, to create the velocity or to create the movement, you're using it more of your arm, because when you're on flat ground or playing catch ever since you were 4 years old, you're not using your full body to throw, or at least a lot of amateur throwers are not. So the issue is when you try and create movement or the velocity, a lot of it is just using your arm to force that. So now versus throwing off of a mound, you have gravity taking you down, you're throwing off of a slope. Therefore, yes, you're creating torques and stress on your arm and shoulder, or excuse me, elbow and shoulder, but off the flat ground, what's happening is you're not able to use that lower body ground reaction forces and the gravity and slope, so therefore to create movement or velocity, it's coming from your arm. And that's a big issue, and that isn't really talked about too much, because it's always been thought, hey, go throw a flat ground.
Oh, I'm throwing less miles per hour, so that means, oh, it's less stress.
Yeah.
Right? Or I'm not giving it 100%, I'm only giving it 50%, I'm not putting any stress on my arm.
Yeah, and that's conceived, and we're like, no, you know what, thinking about it, no, that's not right, because look, even if you are throwing at a certain pace, or speed, excuse me, that when you're throwing, it's your arm doing the work, not your lower body.
Because 50% also means I'm only going 50% on my legs.
If not less.
Right, if not less. You might even be going 0% legs and then 50% arm, and that's just as bad.
Yeah.
Because you're getting your elbow out in front of your face and a whole myriad of things that are terrible for your arm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the second study is an NCBI study, and it states that the timing or the biomechanics of the two, so throwing flat ground versus throwing on the mound, are different. The timing is different. So I'll give you an example. Okay, so if I'm throwing on flat ground, right, there's a certain time I touch the ground, right, and then my body knows to rotate my hips, rotate my shoulders, go into external rotation, then go into internal rotation. So there's a certain timing mechanism when I touch the ground, but if you take out the flat ground, so if you take out, let's say, an inch or two, all of that changes, right? Because on flat ground, I should be here and hip to shoulder separation, but if I take it down, if I take that out, I could be here, right? So the timing of the two sequences are completely different, so you should not be using flat ground throwing as a tool to increase velocity or even increase accuracy, right? Because accuracy is it's all hand-eye coordination. It's all
release points different too.
It's release, yeah, exactly. Just like we were talking about, if you have less ground reaction forces, you're gonna throw the ball back here. Your chest isn't gonna have enough force flying out, so you're releasing on flat ground more out in front of your face, whereas on the mound, you're getting your chest out, you're releasing a little bit behind your head. So the accuracy and your precision is gonna be a lot less, or not less, but if you're working on it on flat ground, it's different timing.
Yeah, and as a pitcher, we're not trying to be really good at throwing flat grounds with accuracy, because if you can throw accurate off flat ground, cool, but if you can't do it off of a slope or a hill, mound, then
what's the point?
Yeah.
Right, so some of the negatives, right? What are some of the negatives? Or what are some of the things that people say, oh, flat grounds are good for?
People say accuracy is one thing. What else? Feel for pitches. You can say that, hey, we have 20 pitchers.
That's the biggest thing with coaches, right?
Yeah, is say, hey, we have 15 pitchers. Let's line everyone up on the line, and we'll throw flat grounds.
Yeah, so yeah, you can get 20 pitchers getting work in, but if you only have 2 mounds, you can only have 2 pitchers working on one time. So I think it's kind of an excuse for coaches to say, oh, let's get a bunch of our pitchers to get working at once.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's
it's tough because a lot of coaches use it as a tool because you can get a lot of guys working at once
with limited amount of time.
And limited amount of space as well. So if you don't have that many mounds, so we can see it from that perspective that it's okay, like
that why it's used.
We understand why it's used, but we can't see why it's used from a performance enhancement standpoint.
And that's why we believe that it shouldn't be used for that scenario, or that case. So, but if you have any questions about the flat ground debated topic, please reach out to us, because this is a good topic that should be talked about more and should be more brought to light, so there can be better
understanding.
Yeah, an understanding of what flat ground really is and what it should be used for, what it shouldn't be used for.
How much torque is put on your arm versus the two. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll put the studies, the links to the studies in the description below. Go check them out. If you have any questions on those as well, let us know.
Reach out to us. Baseball specific training, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We look forward to hearing from you.